As far, I'd have to have the camera right smack in here to be able to look into it. Other than that, I look like I'm looking up or sideways. It's uh, it's been miserably hot here. Heat index over 100 for days. No rain in sight. Um, Good thing is I got my garden going. Got them where I can water them all, both gardens. Um, I never watch the news, and I used to read it some on the internet, and then I quit because um, I'm a conspiracy theorist. Always have been. You know, that's to me is not a bad word. Even the Bible has conspiracy in it. The word conspiracy, because they conspired to kill Jesus. So, you know, to think that a bunch of rich people wouldn't get together at some point and figure out a way to dominate the lower class people, according to them. I don't believe in classes, but, uh, according to them, people that, like you and me, you got to figure why wouldn't they do that? I mean, they're going to do that. And the way they do that is they've worked all this stuff out, is they divide us. You look at some of the things that come out, and it's, they'll break them up into male, female, white, black. It's funny they never go with Asian or Indian, but it's just strange, and they keep breaking you down. They'll break you by age, they'll break you by everything, and that way you can never hold together and fight against them. You're just kind of screwed at that point, and you screwed yourself. But anyway, I looked around and everybody was going, "What about this Black Lives Matter?" And I'm like, "What? Black Lives Matter?" And I said, "I've never heard of it. To me, I thought all lives mattered." Well, that's a new thing. They were tearing up there. So I looked, I took a peek, and they were tearing down statues. They were raiding stores, killing people. And for Black Lives to matter, apparently they didn't matter too much, because this black cop that was helping a friend guard his store, they shot and killed him. So this ain't got a thing to do with Black Lives Matter. And I don't think Black Lives Matter has anything to do with it. It's just, it's racism. It's racist. Uh, I don't think that they even consider it poor young man that got murdered by those cops. That just gives them excuse to go on a raiding party. And as far as these statues and stuff goes, I mean, they're part of our past, whether we like it or not. And, history, if you ever really get studying it, most of what you learn in school you can throw away because it was a lie. But these particular people did exist. And when you get rid of your history and you try to rewrite history, those who do not remember history are condemned to repeat it. We definitely don't want to repeat it, because there's some gruesome stuff in there. So, Black Lives Matter, I mean, that is just retarded. Uh, all lives matter. You had a few cops that were bad. You're always going to have a few of anybody bad, any group. bad seems to work its way in. But that don't mean you throw away the baby with the bathwater. So anyway, I read on that, I looked on that, and it's discouraging. Makes you mad, part you just think, where did our world go? Where did our state go? Where did our laws go? Then you hear about these morons, and I mean morons. They have no idea what they're talking about. Trying to do away with the Second Amendment or certain rifles. One lady, and I use that term loosely, turned around and said there was no point in a guy having an AR-47 that shoots a bullet that long at a deer. They'd probably burn it up when it hit it. There is no such thing as an AR-47, and they shoot a 223 round, not a 50 caliber. So, and besides that, when our Second Amendment was wrote, it wasn't wrote about having hunting rifles. It was wrote about having something that we could take our own part. We could stand up against tyranny. When the government fears the people, there's liberty. When the people fear the government, there's tyranny. You've got no other way around it. And I'm going to do some screen overs little by little. So I'm going to do that now. See, all this stuff right here, Martin Luther King or any of the other great leaders, they would never, ever have stood for this. I mean, this is appalling. And those people are appalling. These idiots right here, they're basically saying their life don't matter, only the black lives matter. And look at that, that one really mattered. They killed her. So, yeah, that's just stupid, folks. And they say they're going to be that's the Black Panthers sign. But this is not what I sacrificed my life for. These three idiots are succeeding in erasing 50 years of progress in a war on racism. And then I heard, and I don't know if it's attached to this Black Lives Matter crap or not, that they were wanting to defund the police. Folks, if they defund the police, especially you that don't like guns, you're really up the creek. Because if they defund the police, then you better hope and pray that you got a safe room. You'll have no way of getting your stuff back or anything. Who was that? Somebody once said God didn't create all men equal. Smith and Wesson did, and that's true. You give an 80-year-old woman a Smith and Wesson, and a 20-year-old 6'5" thug come running at her. She has as much power in her hand as he has in his. And then I heard a chain shortage. I love this, a chain shortage. And blame COVID-19. You know, I'm over it. They blame everything on this COVID-19. A chain shortage. What this is, mark my word, they're wanting you to quit using cash because it's got germs on it. And So they're wanting you to use your card. But then once you get to use your card, you got to watch punching the buttons because somebody else punched the buttons and it's got germs on it. So to be safe, you can get an RFID chip. Or they've even got invisible tattoos that you can put your arm in front of it. And that's what it'll go to. Then you piss them off, they just cut you off. It's like you never existed. You get no money. I don't know how much of this crap Trump's into. I know Biden's way in over his head. But Trump, I don't think's any better. I mean, when we vote, we'll be voting for whale shit at the bottom of the ocean. Humpback and blue, which one's deeper? I just couldn't believe this with chain shortage. Some places around here are actually going to pay you for your change. How stupid is that? And again, I've got a lot of change, so maybe it ain't too stupid. But I don't know, this world's just gone to hell in a handbasket. I hear a lot of people talking about there is no COVID virus. And I do think that a lot of things get blamed on COVID. I'm not saying they don't. You know, they seem to use that as a catch-all. You die of a heart attack, COVID. But then I hear other people saying, oh, there is no such thing as COVID. Yeah, there is. My wife's a nurse. She's in it every day. Yeah, they are. I know Marshtown Hamlin, the hospital, it's where we're at. It's the only one, well, there's other ones in Newport and stuff in Jefferson City, but Marshtown's one of the bigger ones. Their whole fourth floor is full of COVID. They've used all their ventilators and they've ordered more and they've got them in use. All their ICU is COVID. And they're trying to revamp some of the second floor to take on COVID. And you can look at the numbers right here. You can go to Johns Hopkins website. And, 13,888,874 global deaths, over 500,000. Yeah, it's a real thing. What's funny is they just announced that China accidentally, of course, released the bubonic plague, and they've already had one girl die from it. I don't know. That's part that I do agree with on Trump. Is China's the devil. They put melamine in our dog and cat food and in our food. Melamine kills the kidneys. Dogs and cats started dying because of it. Special kitty. That's what we were feeding one of our cats. Walmart's brand. Imagine that. And he got sick and his kidneys started going out and he died. We had no earthly idea why. Vet said, well, the kidneys went bad. Then we finally hear that the kid, that crap that they added it to the Japanese people's eggs. And the Japanese people turned around and told them, they said, you either get it out of our eggs or you keep your eggs. And eventually they finally just told them, they said, deal with it, just keep your eggs. And so this is where I live in Tennessee. So this is up to date. One thing, Sevier County, 1,010. Is it cases confirmed? 1,010. And Sevier County, I don't live in Sevier County, but Sevier County, in case you didn't know, is Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge, and Sevierville. It's got other places too, Gracie Fort. I can't think of the rest of them. Anyway, it's all that encompasses Sevier County. And our biggest city close to us is Knoxville, and it's at 1,991. And they've already had 17 deaths. Jefferson, where I live, we've got 227. We had like 12 people. That has shot up dramatically. Hamlin County, which is a neighboring county, they've got 571. They've had 5 deaths. I mean, that's just unreal, folks. Sevier County, I've seen things on TV where even if it wasn't this, you walk down them strips on Gatlinburg's roads, and the people are just squishing each other. They're back to back to back on the sidewalks. People get a freaking clue. There is nothing in Gatlinburg other than things that take your money and now things that take your health. Pigeon Forge is a little bit more spread out. You don't have the 4 lanes of traffic going through the middle of Pigeon Forge. You've got a split 4 lane. But still, all there is there is just crap to ride. In the mountains, you can go up in there a couple of times and you'll be done. And if you ever read any 411 books, the mountains are not the place you want to go hiking. We knew that as kids. But people move here. When I was in real estate, people would move here and the first thing they wanted was Pigeon Forge or Gatlinburg. And so they would go out in Sevier County somewhere and build. And then they hated it because of the traffic. And they would sell whatever they were buying. Some of them, usually they ended up having to move or whatever. And anyway, it would go into foreclosure. And Fannie Mae would get it, and then I done Fannie Mae's foreclosures. But if you think these numbers are bad, and they are bad, you wait until these kids start back in school. When these kids start back in school, it's going to go through the roof. This 71,541 cases will double. Because you can't even have kids in school during the sniffle season without they give it to each other everywhere. And then they take it home to their family. And they take it home to their grandparents. It's going to be devastating. School starts back next month. And watch out. Because it's going to be bad. My oldest daughter's she's opting out. And she's going to do their schooling on the computer from home. Now, they do allow you that option. So that's about where we're sitting right now. And that's about where it's going to be set, it looks like. I mean, and the whole world just seems like it's gone to hell in a handbasket. This is just the beginning. Hold on, because it's going to get worse. Those of you that this was probably the biggest year of people buying seeds and planting gardens. I talked to people that never grew a garden. And here they were putting out gardens. There's all kinds of videos up here that will teach you, a lot of good videos. And then there's all kinds of survival videos. Right now, if you go to the survival site, they're capitalizing on this. They will scare you to death. Just like the Weather Channel. Heaven forbid they get a hurricane. Then they can just beat it in the ground. Well, that's what survival sites will do. And they're going to tell you what are the 7 best foods to grow. What are the 7 easiest foods to grow? Or what are the 15 foods you need to live? You know, don't pay no attention to that. When you get what you want, then figure out what you like to eat, you and your family. And and then you need to figure out, can I preserve it? Like you might like to eat watermelon, but you ain't gonna be able to preserve it. Cantaloupe, can't preserve it. Those are just some, those are seasonal things that you love. Sweet onions are like that. I like sweet onions. I hate hot onions, but hot onions are preservable. But it doesn't do no good for me to grow them if I hate them. See what I'm saying? Buying these heirloom seed packets and you don't get to pick what seed you want is throwing your money out the window. That is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Yeah, buy heirloom. Do not buy hybrid. And do not buy F1s. Educate yourself so that you'll know if you want tomatoes, you'll be able to tell from the name whether it's a genetically modified, a hybrid, or an actual heirloom. And believe it or not, heirlooms usually grow better and they taste better. Corn, for instance, if you're going to grow corn, don't grow peaches and cream and ambrosia and all the corn like that that's hybrid or genetically modified. Grow heirloom. Heirloom has a thicker shuck and it's a tighter shuck. And that keeps bugs from being able to get in and eat the ears. And so you don't have to, spray pesticides. But don't just buy a bunch of junk that you ain't going to eat. If you like it, cool, go for it. And don't let this be the only day. If the sun comes out tomorrow and it's just as pretty and shiny and everything's peachy, don't forget this, because it'll come again. Next time it'll come worse. So grow your garden. If you need to ask questions, ask people questions. If you need to get on the internet, don't look at one thing on how to plant this or plant that. Look at a bunch. Get an overall consensus. And look within your area for your soil type and your climate. And enjoy your garden. Enjoy growing something you produce that you can have all year long. But then go back next year and do it again. And you'll get better at it. So anyway, that's all I got to say. See you, bye.